West War Room Rivals is sponsored by Emporia State Federal Credit Union. Learn more at esfcu.com. Text or call the number 620-342-2336 to get started today. ESFCU is the Shovix banking of choice, federally insured by the NCUA. This episode of West War Room Rivals is brought to you by JBW Solutions Industrial Safety Services, your remote safety partner no matter where work takes you. From the job site to the office, JBW Solutions brings OSHA 10 and 30 training, plus a full lineup of compliance services straight to your screen. Whether you're a small crew or a major operation, they make safety simple, accessible, and effective. Visit jbwsolutionsllc.com to learn more today and stay compliant wherever you are. West War Room Rivals is sponsored by Field Ops. Kansas sports fields just got an upgrade with Field Ops. Looking to reserve top quality sports fields in Kansas? Whether you're organizing youth tournaments, adult leagues, or weekend pickup games, Field Ops is your go-to platform for discovering and booking the best athletic fields across the state. Instant online reservations, detailed field info such as locations, amenities, and photos. Field Ops is also trusted by coaches, organizers, and athletes. From Wichita to Overland Park, Field Ops has got you covered with real-time availability and streamlined scheduling. Get in the game at gofieldops.com/Kansas-KS. That's gofieldops.com/Kansas-KS. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to West War Room Rivals. I am your host for the evening, Cody, and I've got my crew with me as well. We're going to do a roll call real quick, but I do want to say that this roll call is brought to you by Spy Optic. Use the code ORANGE20 to get 20% off your shades. As you can see, my co-hosts Matt here and Austin have got their shades on. If you guys want an awesome pair of shades, use ORANGE20 to get 20% off. Shovix, kick us off with roll call.
What's up? I am Austin, co-host, representing the Chiefs.
And I'm Corey, representing Broncos country.
And I'm Matt, also representing Broncos country.
And I'm Cody, representing Raider Nation. And speaking of Raider Nation, we have a special guest. As you can see, David Amerson is going to be joining the show. Before we bring him on, though, we do want to give a shout out to our sponsors, JBW Solutions, veteran-owned, community-driven, safety-focused, and also Emporia State Federal Credit Union, Kansas Field Op Kansas, for field marketing. We want to thank our partners for bringing us this show and being supporters of us. Please go support them. All their information is linked down below. Now, without further ado, gentlemen, we've got a special guest, a first-time Raider on the War Room program, which I'm very excited for. And today we are joined by David Amerson, who was NC State alum. In 2011, he led the nation with 13 interceptions, winning the Jack Tatum Award. He earned first-team All-American and All-ACC honors. He was drafted in the second round by the Washington, then known as the Redskins, now Commanders, and then was also a member of the Oakland Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs back in 2015 through 2018. So bringing to the stage now our man, David Amerson. David, welcome to the show, man.
Hey,
we need an applause or something, guys.
Appreciate
we need a sound booth to applaud everyone coming to the stage.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys having me, man.
Perfect. So we like to start in order. So we like to go college all the way through to the NFL career, and then afterlife. We have some fun kind of light mood questions at the end. So I do want to start, as Cody was saying, man, you had a hell of a college career, honestly. Just looking at the numbers last night when we were getting prepped and ready for the show, we saw, obviously the Jack Tatum Award. Let's get it with the main question, like why NC State? What sold you on the Wolfpack?
Man, well, I'm from North Carolina. I'm a North Carolina native. And I remember just doing the process and really just growing up, North Carolina State kind of being like the football school, like within the state. You got Duke, you got Carolina, all of these teams that, they was really known for basketball. And North Carolina State was really well, from my perspective, growing up, was really like the football leader in the state. And really, I just didn't want to leave home, man. Like I know I had a good college career. I had a good high school career as well. And I just, we were state champs. We were the guys in the city. I really didn't want to leave home, man. So, I just wanted to stay close to home, close to family. So NC State was that place for me, man.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, people forget that NC State was kind of a pretty dominant football school. But we're gonna get to kind of that year for you in 2011 when you led the entire nation with 13 interceptions. What kind of clicked for you that year? Like, what kind of zone were you in? Do you remember?
Yeah, man. I just remember so in high school, like I was recruited as a free safety. A lot of colleges wanted me to come and play free safety. That's kind of how I fell in love with football, playing that position, being a basketball player pretty much my whole life. And so when I got to NC State, I started as a freshman, but how they did things at NC State, they played boundary and a corner. So if you were a
Mhm.
boundary corner, you were to the short side, and if you were a field corner, you were to the wide side of the field. And my freshman year, I started off in the boundary, and that was my
Mhm.
first year playing corner, kind of getting acclimated with the position, kind of, just seeing how things went, being a true freshman and so on and so forth. That was a year we had Russell and all of that. And, so that was pretty good for me warming up. And I just remember that next year, my sophomore year, they was telling you like, hey, like you're moving to the field, we want to put you in the field, we want you to be that guy, so on. And yeah, I think it was just catching the stride that second year. Everything. I got a lot more action because I'm to the field now, and just everything just started to click. Man, it was, that's always been my mentality. Being a free safety, it was like a see ball get ball mentality for me.
Mhm.
And I just remember going back like my freshman year, the only touchdown I gave up that whole year was the bowl game against West Virginia, and against my boy Stedman Bailey. And I got beat. Yeah, I got beat deep. I'll never forget it. I got beat deep, and like I was like, I was playing him like face guarding him, and I was right there. I tried to play through his hands. He made like a good catch and came down, and like I was just real hard on myself because I never like at that point that was my first time ever getting beat for a touchdown, and so I was like, I remember I apologized, even though we won the game. I apologized to the team and everything. It was like, man, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
shut up, like whatever. But but from that point, I said, you know what? If I ever get beat again, I'm gonna always go. It's gonna be with me going for the ball. Like I'm not gonna be. I'm gonna always see where the ball is, and if I get beat for a touchdown, I'm gonna at least try to make a play on the ball.
Mhm.
And yeah, it just like I said, it just translated. It translated that next year, and things was just like it wasn't even really like people were coming at me as much. It was just like when they did, it was like I was always there.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I,
So,
I just wanted for people, 13 interceptions may not seem like a lot. It is truly a lot of interceptions, especially in a college season.
Mhm.
People need to realize that, like, yeah, 13 is not a huge number, but let's be honest, that's a crap ton of interceptions, especially in college. So when we say
yeah,
13 interceptions and what clicked, it's because that's special.
yeah, man. It was yeah that was truly a magical season, man. That definitely set the tone for me as a cornerback for sure.
So you mentioned you got to play with Russ. Matt and I, obviously, as Bronco fans, he was obviously with Denver for a short time, but obviously Russ, when he was with Seattle, was he was that dude. What was Russ like in college? Like, was he that leader that we kind of see on the field, always trying to hype man, trying to get everybody fired up? Was that him in college too?
Yeah, man. Honestly, that he was the same guy. Like I said, I only got to play 1 year with him because he went to Wisconsin right after that.
Mhm.
But yeah, he was the same guy you kind of see on TV or you see in interviews, and always, saying the right things and always doing the right things, and just that leader like that. That's who he is. Like there's no faking or anything about that. That's exactly 1000% who he is from my experience, for sure.
Yeah, I was a big Russ fan until he got to Denver, so it's nice to hear some more positives about him.
I understand that.
So David, you said that you wanted to stay close to home when you were in North Carolina, and that's the decision you ultimately made when you went to NC State. But I'm curious though, did you have any other offers that maybe it was like you were this close to moving away from home because of the program that offered you a scholarship?
Yeah, man. I had over like, I think 30 plus offers, but my top four, I had narrowed it down. It was, of course, NC State, it
Mhm.
was Clemson, it
Ooh,
was Notre Dame, and Virginia Tech.
Damn.
And
wow.
so
Wow.
those are
Dude,
my
that
top
was
four.
DBU. Virginia
Yeah,
Tech was DBU at that time too.
they
Yeah.
were DBU, exactly. And so
Yeah.
I always tell people this too. I always tell people this. Like if I knew that I was going to play cornerback, I would have went to Virginia Tech.
Mm.
Right.
Like the
Mm,
the
yeah.
thought process, what they told me coming to NC State. Of course, you're gonna be number one, and you're gonna compete for the free safety position,
Mhm.
like right away. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not no problem. I can compete. Like I'm no problem, whatever. Like, and then as soon as I got there, of course, my name was on the right corner. I mean, on the boundary corner list. But it ended up working out. But yeah, man, like those were it had really boiled down to because Clemson wanted to bring me in as an athlete, meaning
Mhm.
I could have played safety, corner, or receiver.
Mhm.
Right.
um and Notre Dame wanted me to. That's when Charlie Weiss was there.
Mm.
Notre Dame really wanted, so it really came down to it was really between Notre Dame, NC State, and Clemson. And I took my official visit to NC State, and it was I was sold.
Yeah.
I didn't even take the rest of my officials. It was just like, yeah, this is where I'm going. And sorry guys, like I'm not coming to any other visits. I'm going to NC State.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, when you know, right?
Exactly. It was one of those things, man. So yeah, it just ended up working out like that.
Yeah. Well, I like the mentality of like, you're not corner's not normally your position. You're a free safety, but they said we're going to put you at corner instead of like, well, I don't play that position. You were like, I'm going to rise to that occasion. You know, and kind of going back to your breakout year in 2011. Speaking of rising to the occasion, did you feel any kind of pressure or attention during that year? Because you broke Dre Bly's record, who had a very well played NFL career. And they were predicting you were going to go top 10 in the NFL draft. So were you feeling any kind of pressure on that year?
You talking about the following year after the
Yeah.
big year?
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could, I could say, playing corner, it's pressure. I feel like every game, just, so just naturally. And I think, coming into that next year, it was definitely like I was definitely riding a high horse of, from the following season. And of course, everyone, had it out for me or wanted to, kind of a point to prove or whatever. But yeah, I would say definitely there was a little more added pressure. And, like even that following year, like I didn't have 13 interceptions, but I came back and had 5 interceptions. And, which still is not a bad year, but it was
Yeah.
like, it was a bad year, compared to everybody, compared to the year before, or if we're measuring against my sophomore year. So, yeah, there was a little more added pressure, and then I mean, mind you, like I was still really learning the position.
Mhm.
I still really it wasn't really until I got to the NFL to where I really realized, like, man, like I really didn't know how to play corner at all. I was just kind of like out there, see ball, getting ball. And
Uh-huh.
so like, yeah, I'm like, I tell people that all the time. Like, what? Like, if I knew the things that if I grew up or if I was bred to be like a corner, like how some of these guys like I played with, like as far as from a technique wise and things all that, like I definitely would have been a top 5 pick. Like it just
Mhm.
in my head from things that the knowledge that I acquired or just the technique that I learned when I got to the league. So yeah, coming out of NC State, it was a lot of raw talent,
Mhm.
and some of those things got like more exposed a little more. I guess my junior year, just because with me not knowing, but yeah, it was. For to answer your question, yeah, it was definitely a more added pressure for sure.
Yeah, and let's be honest, 5 interceptions in the college season is still a really good year.
Yeah.
It's just, like you said, it followed up 13 interceptions. So what's wrong with this guy? No.
Right.
It's like, what's going on? No, you mentioned that there was pressure. You feel like there's a little bit of pressure on a corner kind of every play, kind of all the time, right?
Mhm.
But I kind of want to ask you, and we discussed it with Eric Warfield and Quentin Jammer. We think playing cornerback is actually one of the hardest things to do in sports,
Oh yeah.
especially now. And so I want to get, especially you, right? You learned it late. And, you're a natural athlete, right? You said you played basketball, you were an athlete. Is trying to learn and play cornerback the hardest thing you've tried to do in sports?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely. Let's just let's just talk about it or think about it, right? You're lining up across someone that's maybe faster than you, or just as fast as you, or maybe faster.
Mhm.
One, he knows where he's going. Two, you're going up against an offense from an offensive coordinator where I'll say 60% or 70% of their plays are drawn up to try to expose you or beat
Mhm.
you, right? Um, three, let's say, if I was a linebacker, if I was a D lineman or anything, I can have a mental error or make a mistake in the game, and nobody really would know like that. Oh, that was my fault, or that was my gap, or whatever the case is.
Mhm.
Out there on that edge, any mistakes that we make, it's on ESPN, and
Yeah.
it's a big turnaround in the game.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
and we're talking about 70 plays of that, continuously. I mean, okay, let's say maybe 40% or 50% of the plays might be run plays, but the other, 50, 60% of the plays are, the pressure's on,
Yeah.
so you take all of that in perspective. It's like, yeah, you got to be, especially in the NFL, you got to be a little off your rocker a little bit to be out there, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
man.
I like
It's
that
funny.
breakdown because, because it started with us talking about today. We're like, now you can't really be physical at the line. So now you don't even have like the opportunity to like throw off timing or like make receivers regret coming your way. So like it started with, especially not taking away anything from your time, right? Like I feel like corner's always going to be extremely hard to play. But as we go on, I feel like corners have it tougher and tougher because they
Mhm.
basically have to give you free range to what you want to do and just hope they're in the right spot. So that's where that came on, and I loved your breakdown of it, man. That was spot on.
Yeah, yeah, man.
I
Oh
was
yeah.
just gonna say it's funny because Quentin Jammer basically said the same thing you did, and he was like, "Have you ever tried to line up against someone who's as fast or faster than you, who knows the play, and you
Mhm.
have to try and figure out what he's gonna do while you're running backwards?" So
Nah, exactly. I mean, because it's like you can put it like this: it's like out of those 70 plays I mentioned, you can strap a guy up for 69 of those plays.
Yeah.
Right.
That one play
Yeah.
out of those 70 plays that you make a mistake, that defines your whole game.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's definitely like the pressure's on if for any young guys that want to, like, yeah, you have to have that. You have to definitely be a self-starter, self-motivator, and you definitely have to have that, that inner confidence or that tunnel vision to be able to block everything else out,
Mhm.
because you know, especially in the leagues, like some stuff is going to happen. You know, guys are going to catch the ball sometimes. You know, they
Yeah.
get paid too. You know, so yeah.
I mean, some of the guys that you had to line up against, they were by still some metrics, some of the best the game's ever seen. And that was just 10 years ago when you were in your prime locking them down. You know, you're facing some of the hardest competition that the league's ever seen. So, you know, to your credit, yeah, it is super difficult. I want to kind of circle back to your NC State time though, and I do want to ask, and it's kind of funny we're talking about quarterbacks and receivers a little bit. Which quarterback or receiver was your toughest matchup during your time at NC State?
Man, my toughest matchup.
And feel free to drop any name that you want about it too.
You know what? Like, and it's crazy because I don't want this to like rub or come off, you know, the wrong way. You know, because I played against some very like a lot of guys I played with are very talented and very, you know, like top level. I say this, a guy that like, you know, that beat me, and I wouldn't even say he beat me, right? I
Mhm.
would say it was more of like me beating myself, you know,
Sure.
because and the only reason I say that because I ended up playing with this individual in the lead and guarding him every day, and it was, you know, yeah, I had no problems at all. You get once I really learned the position, you know,
Yeah.
it's so. But a guy that really beat me the first game of the season, Cordell Patterson took
Oh
me
yeah.
double moved me against we played against Tennessee. He double moved me, and that like was like, oh, like, oh, Emerson isn't that good to look, all I lie. And it was like I tried to jump an out route and he double moved. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's like, but yeah, like but yeah, he was a very talented. I say out of, you know, a lot of the guys I played, he was one of the most talented, raw
Mhm.
talent. I played in college. That just comes off the top of my head. But
Yeah.
yeah, like yeah, honest to be honest with you though, bro, like in college I didn't really have a tough time it wasn't anybody that really stands out like,
Yeah.
oh, that dude like really, you know, gave me the work. So like
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah, but
So
yeah, he was definitely one of the most talented for sure.
yeah, so Quentin Jammer, when we had him on, I mean, we asked him the same thing during his time in Texas, and he goes, honestly, in college, nobody was a problem for me.
That's
It
what I'm
That's
was,
that quarterback
yeah, you know, he
mentality.
was like, dude, nobody was a problem. So you saying that is like, yeah, you're that guy. If you're like, no one in college can touch me. Like, we're just gonna be real
yeah,
right now, you know?
and it was, and I can only imagine. Like I keep, you know, and I keep saying this because it's true. I just being honest. I can only imagine if I really knew how to play the position in college, like how I, like it would have been. Like I said, it would have been like playing with babies out there. Honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
I mean, if you
So
were still learning during your time with the Raiders, and we're kind of foreshadowing now, but you were like our top cornerback at the time where we could rely on you to match up with some guy opposite of you in the AFC, super competitive, a lot of weapons out there. And we knew like Emerson's got this. Like that was how we felt as Raiders. And if you're telling me that during that time you were still kind of understanding the position, I can only imagine if you had, you know, figured it out when you got into the league and then played from that point, you probably would have been the best shutdown corner on this side of the Raiders have seen since Charles Woodson, former
man,
teammate, of course.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and I'm pretty sure we'll get into it when we talk about the Raiders, but yeah, Charles Woodson and Rod Woodson as well
Yeah.
had a lot to do with when I learned how to really play that position and like,
Yeah.
you know, from a technique wise.
Right.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing we've learned so far is that like cornerback mentality, right? Like you said, you have to be able to rebound, right? Because plays are going to happen at some point. But
Yeah.
just to see your guys' mentality of like, truth be told, man, I was that guy, and you kind of have to think like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's amazing. And for you to even mention Cordero Patterson, right? Like, I don't know if people remember his time in college. He was one of the most
Electric.
Yeah, he was. I
Yeah.
mean, he had that size and speed combo that
Yeah.
honestly during that time he and even now, right? Like when he gets the ball in his hands, he's still kind of that dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Nah,
his
for
time in
sure.
Tennessee was wild. So like for you to be like, you know, he beat me once, it's still kind of crazy. But yeah, no, I just want to throw
Yeah.
that out there. Like Cordero Patterson at Tennessee was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like you said, still to this day. I mean, I remember when I was playing with him in Oakland. Yeah, with him with the ball in his hands, like second to none for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
Not like it was a bad receiver to get beat by, but sorry, Corey. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you know what I mean?
Right.
So learning a new position in college, what did that kind of show you as you're getting ready to head into the NFL? Like, was there something in college that you were like, yeah, this is going to translate?
I just say I think it's more just that confidence, yeah, more just that confidence out there on the island, going through like being you top this, you top that to, having a bad game start of the season, like, oh, you suck, like, oh, you're not as good as and like, for me, like I said, I was like growing up, I was always a star at everything, whether
Mhm.
whatever sport I played with, like, so I never experienced like any type of adversity of any, people talking shit to me or whatever the case is, and so I think that was like, from a college standpoint was like the one thing that that I was able to help me make that transition to the league
Mhm.
was just how to how to deal with the noise and how to really building up that corner mentality of like being a self starter. I
Yeah.
think that was the biggest what like having my first adversity in sports. That was the biggest thing that helped me transfer.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to throw this out here now. That way it's on record. Out of this group here, I am the defensive guy. I'm the one who loves defense and supports defense. So, like, even hearing you say things like cornerback mentality and, like, just getting out there, like, it's getting me hyped. Like, I'm not an athlete at all, but right now, just listening to you, I feel like I could just go cover Marvin Harrison in our street game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Just get me hyped on that.
Hey, man, and that's what it is, man. Like, I always approach everything like that. I think anything you do, 70% of it is confidence.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So we're gonna transition into the NFL life a little bit, and we're gonna start it off for draft day. That's obviously when that dream came true. So, what was draft day like for you, and what was it like hearing your name called in that second round?
It was bittersweet, to be honest with you.
Right.
We it was funny because me, I don't know if you guys know this, but Keenan Allen,
Mhm.
me and him, we grew up together. We're from the same city
Yeah.
here in Greensboro, and so we had our draft day together,
Oh wow.
and we were both thinking that we were going first round,
Mhm.
and in 2013 was the first time that they split it up the days where that was the first time where the first round was one day, then the second round went the
Uh-huh.
second day, second and third round, and so we had a big party for the first day, at our ex manager's house, and like all our family there, all our friends, girlfriends, like you name it, everybody was there, kind of thinking like we're going to get our name called, and we did it, and
Uh-huh.
so everyone had to come back the second day, and to hear our names get called and things, but even though it sucked that it was the second day and stuff, once it really happened and my name was called, definitely, man, just to see the smiles on my family face and just the relief and like the anxiety of like, oh, I'm about to go to the NFL, I'm about to go to Washington DC, like I'm about to start this whole new life, man. That was yeah, that was definitely a memorable moment for sure.
Man, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, bittersweet. We can understand that, right? But like
Yeah.
once
Yeah.
it settles in, you realize like you're in the league.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, man. So yeah, it was cool, man, and Washington was a cool town to go to too, man. Like a cool fan base to be a part of for
oh
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, I did actually get to see you play your rookie year when you guys went to Denver. My dad's watching the show. We went to Denver, so we actually did get to see you play. You had 4 tackles that game.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but
And
how was that adjustment? Going from the ACC ball to lining up with the NFL receivers.
You know what? And like I said, I don't want to come off like, oh, Emerson's just
No,
cocky
talk your
guy or
game,
something.
man. Talk your
You
game.
do.
Yeah, you
talk
do
your
what
stuff, dude.
I just remember being in OTAs, like I'm gonna play for a long. Like this is easy. You're gonna like it's not. It's not what I thought. Like it's as far as like from a competitive standpoint, like I can play with these guys. And I
Mhm.
just remember like, and like I said, I still had so much to learn. So much, and I remember, you know going up and try to press a guy for like really press a guy for the first time and didn't know what the heck I was doing. You get what I'm saying? Like really like watching people like Darrell Revis and watching Patrick Peterson tape, like when I go home and stuff, trying to like learn little techniques. D'Angelo Hall was a big mentor for me when I was there. And learning like watching him and seeing how he do stuff like D'Angelo Hall was like a freak athlete, so he wasn't the most technical guy. He just kind of did his own thing and made plays, and so that kind of like showed me, all right, it's kind of like college, like man, just figure it out, get in where you fit in, kind of like
Yeah.
like just figure it out. And so yeah, I remember trying all different stuff, different techniques and stuff. Like I'm their first pick because they didn't have a first round pick that year. So I was the first pick in the second round for them. And so I was like, yeah, I gotta, I gotta go out here and act like I know what I'm doing, even though I really didn't, like. And so yeah, man, I remember it being a pretty cool transition because even my rookie year, like I had a pretty solid year
Yeah.
for not to really know what I was doing or really know how to or knowing how to be a professional yet. You get them? So
Yeah.
yeah, it was very interesting. It was very interesting.
Yeah. I think my favorite part of all of that, obviously great story and insight and whatnot, but you guys catch the part where he said he's going home and watching tape of other great people.
Yeah.
He's circling back that self-starter, right? Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
how many people once they get to that point you think really put in that kind of time, right? So like, yeah, hell of an athlete, but like I caught the part where he's like, I'm going home and watching tape of other great corners to try to
Yeah.
figure out my craft. And I love that part. So I wanted to make sure we kind of just specifically put a spotlight on that because I absolutely love that.
It's what it takes to be great, and he wanted to be great.
Yeah.
That's 100%.
But
Absolutely.
you know what's so crazy about that whole thing though, like even like my whole time in Washington, like I want to emphasize this, like I had no idea on how to be a professional.
Yep.
Mhm.
You know what I'm so
Yeah.
when it came to like watching film or studying for other teams or anything, I had no idea how to. I didn't do it honestly. Like I didn't, like as crazy as it sounds. My first 2 years in the league, I did not. The only film I really watched was the film we watched as a unit, as a team.
Mhm.
Like I did not know how to study or why. It was just pure. I just show up and I play. You get what I mean? Like it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
as crazy as that sounds, to be in the NFL and to be, because once I really learned how to do all these things, and I look back, like how the heck was I even doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like how was
yeah.
I even surviving these games or doing what? But yeah, like I would just show up and like whatever we watch, as a DB unit, that was the only film I was getting, and then I was just
Mhm.
going out there and playing ball,
Yeah.
and it worked out. For my rookie year, pretty good. But my second year, it started to catch up with me a little bit.
Mm.
Like
Yeah, there's a little film on you now, right? Like felt the
exactly,
other way. Yep.
Yeah.
exactly, man. So yeah, I was going through real live growing curves, you know, like in the heat of the fire, literally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a very very interesting, man. Because honestly, like if I knew the things that I knew or that I learned, say when I got to Oakland, If I knew those things, like, coming into the league, or even my time in Washington, like, we'd probably be having a different conversation. I probably would have never even been in Oakland, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So it was it was it was very interesting, man, and the Redskins during the time, man, we were not really that good. I think my rookie year we went 3-13, and the next year we
Hmm.
went like 4-12. So you talking about guys like, we're out partying all the time, and we're out, doing stuff like that
Hmm.
you would not a focused team really is not doing, and like I said, I had built I picked up a lot of bad habits like early in the league. One, because my rookie year, like I said, I was partying all the time, every
Hmm.
night, all this stuff, but I was showing up on Sunday and balling out, so I'm
Hmm.
like, hey, this is what people do in the league. Like, all the
Right.
other older guys are doing it. This is what goes on,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so I picked up a lot of bad habits, man. My first 2 years in the league, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did any of those bad habits end you up in Mike Shanahan's office? Like, what was it like being with Mike Shanahan?
Oh man, that was my guy. That was my
Yeah.
guy, man.
Sure.
Yeah, like I like, even through the recruiting or through the draft process, man. I remember the meeting we had and the conversations we had, just about, even stuff that was lingering from college coming into, and like the real conversations we had with each other. And Raheem Morris is because Raheem Morris was my
Yeah.
DB coach, and that
Hmm.
that guy, that was one of the best coaches I ever had as well. But that was the realest guy I've ever like been around. Like, he's a real player's coach. But yeah, like, I never had any type of um any like negative or bad, like, engagements with Mike Shanahan. And
Hmm.
then, of course, like I said, we went 3-13 and he got fired. So
Yeah.
that's when Jay Gruden came in. And
Yeah.
Hmm.
so that year was a little different. Like, that
Yeah.
year wasn't so good for me. I hit some rough spots that year. I remember this is probably one of the reasons like I got released. I remember being out with some teammates. I won't give them up and say who it
Yeah.
is, but
Yeah.
Good guy. Good guy.
yeah, I remember being out with some teammates, man, and they left. These guys left. They went with some girls or whatever, and I did the same. I went with a girl, and had probably too much to drink. And long story short, I wake up the next morning and it's the sun's up. Like, I'm in the middle
Wow.
of because and what in Washington, like, we practice in Virginia, Northern Virginia, but
Hmm.
anything you do socially is in DC.
Right.
I remember waking up in the middle of Washington DC, and it's like 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hmm.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I basically missed the whole practice. And
Yeah.
like, so that was one of the turning points for me with the Redskins, where it's like, all right, I got
Yeah.
suspended for a game. Like, yeah, we can't trust this guy, and so
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was like one of the turning points for me in Washington, for
Yeah.
And
Well,
sure.
thanks for sharing that. I'm sure like hindsight's 2020. I mean, had you known now what you knew back then, you probably wouldn't have made those decisions. But without those decisions,
Yeah,
we don't form our experiences that we have today. So I mean, it sucks to look back on it like I was a knucklehead, but if it wasn't for you being a knucklehead, whatever transpired following that probably wouldn't have happened. And so we look at it as like, yeah,
yeah.
little kid stuff, but grown up stuff, maturing. We look back on that as like, yeah,
Mhm.
that's what made me a better person today,
that's what got him to
One
the
one
Raiders.
thousand percent.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what
one
brought you to us.
thousand
Yep.
percent. Yep,
So,
1000%, man. Like, and I enjoy even looking back and talking about these things, because it's like, man, these are, like you said, these are things that shape me as a person, my character, and
Yeah.
thing, like, I was able to learn from these things.
Yeah.
so one last kind of Washington question before we move on to the Raiders. So Cody had mentioned last night as we were doing our show prep that you had a 45-yard pick six your rookie season. because he knew exactly who it was against.
Yeah,
And
all over it.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And I went back just to verify. Not that I don't trust Cody, but I just wanted to verify for myself. So I saw the highlight of it. Man, walk us through that. What's that like for you as a rookie?
Oh man. All right. We're coming off I'll never forget it because the game before that, we played Green Bay and they had Jordy Nelson.
Yeah.
And not to say I didn't have a bad game or anything, but like Jordy Nelson took me deep for like a 30. It wasn't a touchdown, but he took me deep for on like a 35 yard or like went over. That was the first time in my life I got like kind of like mossed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like and what it was a blown coverage. I thought we were in cover two. And
Mhm.
we had made a check and I didn't get the check. And so
Mm.
I go to reroute my guy, Jordy Nelson goes inside of me and I go to reroute him, and like I'm looking at my safety, and my safety's in the middle of the field, and I'm like, oh, so I kind of like try to catch up. I kind of catch up, and he mosses me or whatever, and like so I'm feeling bad, like dang, I had a bad game, like so on and so forth. So the next game we play, we play Oakland, we play our
Right.
Oakland game, and they're running a shallow cross, and I slipped. It's really supposed to be a pick route, but I was kind of trailing behind him, and I don't know if the receiver read the wrong thing. He must have thought we were in zone or something, like because he should have kept running, and he stopped. And then once he stopped, Matt Flynn threw it, and I picked it, took it to the house, man, and it's like. I just remember all the love I got after the game, man. It was like it was like that was like my first time. Like everyone, I remember I took a girl out to dinner like the next day, and like the manager came out was like, "Hey, your whole meal's on me, like everything." Like I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is nice, man. This is
I need to do this more. So.
Yeah.
like this is how it's supposed to go right here, man."
That's awesome. And again, on Matt Flynn too, who had gotten like some crazy contract in Seattle, got pushed out by your former teammate, and then there you are paying him back in Oakland. So
Exactly.
I do want to start kicking off your Oakland career because again, like when my buddy and I, when we're diehard Raider fans, when we saw 2015 was kind of one of those seasons where we had just drafted Khalil Mack. I think we had just had Amari Cooper at that time. I think he was a rookie.
Yep. He was
We
a
had
rookie, yep.
drafted Derek Carr, so he was coming into his second year out of Fresno State, which I'm in Fresno, so of course we rooted for the Bulldogs. So going into 2015, when you were claimed, you had 26 pass deflections during your time there in the season that we had picked you up from. What was the difference between when you were in Washington to Oakland that made you like take that step forward and being a very productive player on the defense?
Man, all right. Now this is when it all starts to come together now, right?
Let me know. Yeah.
Yeah, so so boom, one, I get cut. Right. I
Right.
get because they bring in Chris Culliver and all of this stuff over in Washington, and so they're trying to make me the odd man out. I get hurt during training camp there, so that's even worse, and all this stuff. So like like I can already feel the energy of where it's going, right? And so once it finally happened, I think it was the third game of the season. They are going into week 3. They released me, and so I remember I get to Oakland, and like that was like a big wake up for me because now it's like, all right, it's real now. I'm cut. Like I just got real. Our team just cut me. Like I've never experienced anything like that. So immediately it's like I don't care what's going on. I'm locking in. Like I'm super focused. I'm not worried about anything. I'm out here in California. I don't know anybody. I'm staying in a hotel. Like it's like I gotta make this. This is like do or die for me, right? And so I remember getting in there in the first practice, like I'm like talking shit to everybody, like Crabtree,
Oh
Mike,
yeah.
Amari Cooper,
Amari, yeah.
like yeah, all of these guys one-on-ones. I'm like, no, these dudes can't fuck with me. Like, like a big chip on my shoulder. Like I'm just
Yeah.
making noise. Like, and you backtrack my brother before anything ever happened. I mean, before a team picked me up off of waivers, before I got picked up by Oakland, he told me, he said, "You're going to go to Oakland." He said,
Oh,
you're gonna go. He said, you're gonna go to the Raiders. I got a feeling. He said, bro, they don't have anybody out there, bro. You can go out there and be the man. And
Uh-huh.
that's how it happened. And so I remember the first practice, like I said, I'm talking shit, doing all this stuff. I'm making plays left and right. And Rod Woodson pulling me to the side after practice. And he's like, why are you here? Like,
Uh-huh.
you know what I'm saying? He's like, it has to be, you have to have some some BS with you because there's no way you should be here. Like,
Right.
and so I'm like, hey, like, it's just that's the way it happened. He's like,
Mhm.
well, we're gonna need you this week, so be ready to play. I'm like, all right, yeah, whatever. And so, yeah, boom, the first week come, I get in the game against the Browns. They put me in like midway through the game. I immediately start making an impact, and it's like, all right, yeah, you're gonna be a guy like we think you're gonna be able to play. Nate Irvin gets hurt. They move
Uh-huh.
Carey to safety, so now
Yep.
we playing with three corners and all this stuff, right? And so Charles Woodson pulls me to the side, like when we're in practice or we're in the meeting rooms, and he broke down to me how to watch film.
ooh.
Man,
Like I
when
said,
crazy.
Mm.
That's
I
One of
awesome.
the
never,
one of the best.
yes, I never had anybody show me, like no one in Washington showed me how to watch film. It's like I never even opened my iPad in Washington. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And so now, once I learned how to watch film, oh my God. Like it was easy. You get what I'm saying? It
Mhm.
was like it's like I'm prepared. Like that just boosted my confidence even more. So now
Right.
it's like I'm prepared every game. Now I'm super that confidence that you need to play corner. Oh, they put the super battery in my back now.
Yeah.
So I'm going into the game. It's like 4 or 5 plays. Like, you better not throw this.
Yeah.
You
Right.
don't, you get what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah, yeah.
you throw this play, it's a pick, or there's no way you're catching this play on me. And so now I started to recognize those things and I'm starting to see stuff, and it was like game after game after
Mhm.
game. Like I'm making some type of play, even a pass deflection or an interception, or I'm there for a crack replace on a run. Like
Mhm.
a big play is going to be made every game just because just the preparation. And
Right.
once I learned that, it was like, man, yo, the NFL is easy. Like
Yeah.
it's like that's really all it was. Is I just really, once I learned how to prepare, how to
Mhm.
be a professional, it was nothing that could yeah, it was easy after that. It was like I could have been doing this a long time ago.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like,
Cody,
Yeah.
if you weren't a Woodson fan before that, right? Like the one
Dude,
guy
that
pulling you
I mean,
aside, you do that because you want to win, right? Like
yeah.
you're
I
only going
mean,
to pull a teammate aside if you want to win. That's all it is.
he
yeah,
had Charles Woodson as a teammate and he had Rod Woodson as a coach. Like
Yeah.
two of the best minds, in terms of modern day cornerbacks that you can have to just pick their brains, especially for Charles Woodson to break down film. Because
Yeah.
of course he took his
Yeah.
experience to Green Bay, won a Super Bowl, came home for the final few years, and so to just eat off of that experience, I would think would be absolutely incredible. I do have
yeah.
a little bit of a follow up though from when you joined the team in 2015 though. Who was your favorite teammate during your time with the Raiders? Because you had guys like Khalil Mack who were on the team. Obviously, Derek Carr, he gets a lot of reviews about how he was a phenomenal teammate. And you had Jack Del Rio, who was running that squad before, of course, 2017 when he didn't survive. But still, during 2015 and 16, electric with the atmosphere that they had. Ken Norton Jr., who was running that defense. Who was your favorite teammate during your time?
No, it's Charles. Honestly, it was Charles Woodson, man. I mean, like I said, all the respect and the great. I mean, probably is the greatest DB to ever play, in my opinion. And for a guy like that to come up to me and say, I mean, shoot, you one of the best corners I've played with. Like, huh? Like I'm like, what, me? You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for him to say, like, yeah, you're doing something. He's told me you're doing something special. He's like, you're one of the most talented guys that like I've played with. And I'm like, what? Like, for that was like a boost of confidence for me. Like, whoa,
Right.
like. you can't nobody tell me anything right
I was
now.
gonna
You
say,
know,
ain't no one gonna tell you nothing anymore.
Yeah.
exactly, man.
Oh
And so
man.
for him to say that to me, it was like, yeah, man. And then like I mean, he had a crazy year that year as well. With his
Yeah.
last season, like I'm talking about, I look up left and right. He's making amazing play after amazing play. It's like,
Yep.
so yeah, man. That was definitely the best safety I've played with, and the best teammate like that you can ask for, honestly.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is, yeah.
I don't want to say that's surprising because I don't want to like talk down on like all the other teammates and players, right? But like
Oh yeah,
it's
Yeah.
Charles Woodson, right? Like especially as a
yeah,
corner defensive back, it's like it's Charles Woodson.
exactly,
You don't
exactly.
really have to say much other than it's Charles Woodson, so it makes complete sense.
Mhm.
But during that time, what was the vibe like being part of like the Raiders secondary during like their playoff push?
Oh man, that year, I always say, man, that year, if Derek Carr didn't get hurt,
Yep.
it would have been pretty interesting, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
'cause it was a lot of momentum. We had a lot of momentum. Like the vibe was there. Like, everyone was playing good. Like it was, like we had all the momentum to go deep in the playoffs. I mean, the fan base was crazy. Like it
Mhm.
Always.
was, the city was electric. I mean, I had just signed the deal that year as well, so I'm on my
Mhm.
high horse. Like
Yeah.
everything's perfect. I mean, life couldn't be much better
Sure.
than that year for me. From that 2016 season, man,
Mhm.
that was definitely a special time. Like I feel like, for not just for the Raiders organization, but and just for me as a player to be a part of. That was the only year I went to the playoffs.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you helped lead the Raiders to their first playoff berth since their Super Bowl loss in 2002. So you helped end a 14-year drought. And I don't want to go into I don't want to be dramatic when I say who knows, we probably could have gone really far in 2016, but I just know that offense was clicking. That
Mhm.
defense also was a ferocious defense. You guys had hard battles against the Ravens. You guys had shootout battles with Kansas and OT. So you guys were a defense that was hard to beat. And even I think you guys lost to the Texans, if I'm not mistaken, in the wild card. You still
Yeah,
gave them a run for the money with the backup quarterback, thanks to the
yeah,
defense. So, as Raider Nation here, I mean, granted, we had a wild card berth in 2021, but that 2016 season is still talked about as one of the best Raider teams to have seen the field since the Super Bowl run. And I think to be a part of that team is super special considering one injury away, who knows how far they could have gotten. I'm not trying to say we would have won the Super Bowl, but to think that we would have made it out of the wild card, I think at least that much for sure.
Well, and
yeah.
I'll agree with you as a Chiefs fan. I think that was a year my brother and I in fantasy football. He had Cooper, I had Crabtree, and just to let you know, like how good that offense was, they were both just putting up points. So like that
Yeah.
offense really was clicking. Like
Yeah, I mean,
they obviously
then
hate the Raiders, and they were on fire. Like something was right with that team.
I never understood they were never supposed to break up that team, like break up that nucleus. Like
Right.
they traded Khalil Mack, traded Amari Cooper. That like, I got cut. Like everyone, it was like
Oh man,
everybody.
you're breaking my heart bringing up all these memories, man. Hold on.
Cody's just fighting tears right now.
I know.
I never understood what Gruden why he did that. Like it was never supposed to
Yeah.
the break up that team, man.
That team
Yeah,
really
dude.
was special. Even as a Chiefs fan, like you could watch the Raiders and you're like, damn, they figured it out. Like that's
I
when you
mean,
watch those few
yeah.
years, that's what you're like, dang, they really did figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. I mean,
man.
we can go on and on about why did they get rid of Cooper, why did they get rid of Mack, and then seasons later we're trying to get them back during the off season. So it's like, well, why did we get rid of him in the first place? They can still be on the team today. So, but
Yeah.
don't want to go too much down that rabbit hole. But yeah, you guys had one of the best Raider teams that we've seen in a very, very, very long time. Very potent defense for sure. Like shut down. It seemed like every Sunday, or at least we can count on you guys to make a stop. And you guys did, like one of the better defense that we've seen in a long time. So
Yeah, man, those are definitely some memorable times, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, I will always have love for the city of Oakland, the Raider organization, period, just for those times, man, for sure.
And
Yeah.
so we'll kind of round out the NFL with a couple of the Chiefs questions real quick. So when you got picked up by the Chiefs, what was it like getting picked up by a rival? Obviously, everyone talks Chiefs Raiders week, as we've talked to some of the Chiefs guys. So what was it like getting picked up by the Chiefs?
Man, listen, I have no, and I don't mean this in any bad way. I have, no bad intentions that like going towards the Chiefs, but man, that was one of the most like one of the a pivot. That was a hard, that was a real pivot situation like in my career because I get hurt in Oakland. I get hurt in Oakland, Gruden comes, like I said, his brother already had a bad taste for me in Washington.
Yeah.
So I knew
Yeah.
once I missed 10, 11 games, like I was out at, you know what I'm saying? Like I already knew
Yeah.
what was going to happen. And like, I could have went anywhere during that time. Like I had, I had a lot of teams like, willing to give me a lot of money and like wanted me to come be the guy for them, right? And Kansas City, man, God, like they sold me a dream. One, they sold me a dream. That this is before they released Marcus Peters and everything. They,
Right.
they were saying they wanted me to be on the other side. I was gonna come in, like, I was gonna get a lot of action because people didn't want to throw towards Marcus Peters. Mahomes is gonna be the MVP, which he ended up being, and all of this stuff. They had this killer offense. I can come here, I can do all of this stuff, and they wanted me to come be that guy, blah blah blah. And I'm like, all right, well, I know Kansas City, there's not too much to do. I can come here, I can be focused, I can revamp my career. You get what I'm saying? Like all of these
Yeah.
things kind of play the, and mind you, they lock me. I always tell people this, they lock me in the room because I was supposed to leave. I was supposed
Uh-huh.
to I was supposed to leave and go take my other visits to all these other teams, and they kept me in the room like, hey, we're on the phone with your agent now. He wants you to come here. We're trying to get a deal done. Like I know your flight's in an hour, but we're just gonna keep you here for a little longer and see. And so they kind of forced me into taking that deal.
Uh-huh.
I I take the deal, man, just to come in, right from OTAs. I think they traded for Kendall Fuller. They had
Mhm.
Steven Nelson, who was a guy they drafted and all of this stuff. Like I don't know a lot of this stuff. They have Steven Nelson, who was a guy they drafted. And so they was trying to bring me in as a third corner, like right off the
Mhm.
rip. I'm like, what happened to all of this? Like I
Yeah.
was supposed to be the guy and all of this stuff. So
Yeah.
I already got a bad taste in my mouth. Like, oh man, I could have went anywhere and did this, man. And so like the deal I signed was pretty shitty, to be honest with you. Like it was all contingent on like how much I played.
Mhm.
That's why they were trying to bring me in as a third corner.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I can go on and on, but it was real political. It
Sure.
was a lot of, I got caught for the first time in my career. I've never experienced this. I had got
Mhm.
caught into the politics with things.
Yeah.
And so it made it like not as, enjoyable as it could have been for me. And then
Mhm.
I think Orlando Scandrick gets released from Washington. They sign Orlando Scandrick for $1 million. When
Mhm.
I was scheduled to make $6 million, so it was like now it's a numbers game, and
Mhm.
I'm the odd man out and all of this stuff. So it ended up being a disaster, honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I mean, but as far as the organization is a great organization. I can see why they have a winning tradition. Like
Mhm.
those practices, those from training camp practices, some of the hardest practices I've ever experienced in my life. And
Yeah.
so I can see why each year Kansas City is always ready to play. Their players are very well conditioned, very disciplined. Andy Reid's a good coach. Like all this, like I have nothing bad to say about the organization. Just
Mhm.
unfortunately, I was caught in the political side of things.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
and
when it
and
came
I'll
to
even say as a Chiefs fan, obviously get your frustration, but even as a Chiefs fan, I was excited as hell when we signed you, right? And then when I didn't see you out there like ever, I was like, what? Again, I'm gonna be like you. No disrespect to the other dudes, but I'm like, he's better than all the dudes out here.
Yeah, man.
I was telling them that before the show. I'm like, his time with the Chiefs was so weird to me because like the whole time I'm nothing against Marcus Peters, but like I don't like corners who get 9 interceptions but give up 1,000 yards. To me,
Yeah.
that don't make no
Right.
sense.
I mean, then they ended up they traded Marcus Peters
Yeah.
before I even got on the field. So it was like, they was kind of just going with their younger guys and like now I'm this veteran trying to, get top-notch money. And it was like I was I was the odd man out, man. And I can say with me dealing with that, I didn't deal with it in the best manner neither. It was my first time really dealing
Right.
with like now I got like a bitter energy about me now like I could have went anywhere and did this, man. Like, come on, like y'all showed me that y'all locked me in the room and did all of this stuff just to have me as an option. And
Right.
and it was, yeah, it was very frustrating, man.
Yeah, I
But
just remember week after week watching our corners get burnt, and I'm like, what are we doing? What are
Yeah.
we doing? I'll be
yeah,
honest with you, I take you out there right now, but I might have you on later and get into real season action going on. But I remember that as a fan, and I was just like, I don't play your best players, leave all that politics and shit out of it, like play your
yeah,
best.
man, yeah, exactly. That
So
I
was
could
the
have
first
hired
time.
Austin as your agent.
Yeah, for
That's what
real.
I'm saying. Like I take you out
Yeah.
there right now, like
Man, I'm telling
you're
you.
right.
And so I ended up signing with the Arizona Cardinals like in week 8. Like I went
Yeah.
7 weeks not playing. You get them, and so it was like for the first time, it was like, what? Like now, what does it look like for me, right? I get
Mhm.
released from Oakland, from being hurt. John Gruden
John
coming
Gruden.
in
Yeah.
and all, and now, and whatever Jay Gruden and told him about me and all this stuff. Now I go to Kansas City and get caught in politics and get released again. So now it's like all the teams are looking at me like,
What's
yeah,
wrong with you?
you're
Right.
cancer. Something's wrong with this guy. Like
You're
and
right.
I'm like, man, nah, it's nothing. Like I'm just trying to play ball. Like I don't know.
Right.
Like, so it was
And
crazy. And so I ended up going to Arizona, man, and I made the best of it. I go out there and ball out, but like the team sucked, so the
Yeah.
coaches get fired that year too, and now I'm back at square one. Like I'm just
Mhm.
a veteran that signed in week 8, and now I'm just back to being another option, not really,
Mhm.
a home. You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's yeah,
uh,
that changed. I'll be honest with you, that changed my career. That decision changed the whole like outlook of on my career. To be
Yeah.
honest,
and there's always the behind the scene things that people don't see, right? Like we
that
see guys strapping up on Sundays, we see them play thinking everything's good, but in reality, there's a whole nother world behind the scenes, whether the locker room life, front office life.
politics, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I can't thank you enough for sharing that. So we're gonna get to this lightning round. So a little last section. So we like to laid back questions, and this one's kind of fun because you actually played when we had really good quarterback play. Was there a quarterback that you really looked forward to going up against, or maybe someone who was like it was always a chess match?
Aaron Rodgers for sure.
Uh-huh.
Because like he was one of those guys that will he'll talk to you during the game. You get what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
remember even I was in like when I was in Oakland and I remember I made a play. I made a play on a deep ball. I think it was Drew Jerome. I forgot his name. I forget the receiver's name. But he was their top guy during that year. And I remember I made a play on a deep ball, and he was like, "Hey man, that was a good play. I'm coming right back at you." Like, just one of those guys, like,
Uh-huh.
all just saying like little slick stuff and like, very savvy. And but yeah, he was always a guy you play a chess match with. Philip Rivers was another guy, very
Yeah.
competitive. Yeah, very
Did he
Also
competitive.
talker.
did he talk
Yeah.
a lot too?
Yeah, boy, he talked. Oh, yeah, he talked. You would think he's a defensive back out there. Like that's what he's yapping to. He was an NC State guy too, as
Yeah.
Yeah.
well. So we had a lot of back and forth going on all the time with him, man. So yeah, those are two guys like that I remember just being like, always playing chess with or always kind of competing with. Like you really felt like you were competing with them because like you're talking to them, like
Yeah.
throughout the game. Like so, yeah. Peyton Manning was fun too. That
I was
was
going to say,
that,
I think you guys played him in the last Oakland game, or at least Woodson's last game where he picked him off twice. And I can only
yeah,
imagine what it was like
And that
playing
was
with the
the first
sheriff.
time in his career too, when he
Yeah.
picked off
yeah.
Peyton Manning.
Yep. Like he was a good. I think I played against him three times. I played twice in Oakland that year, and I played against him once when I was in Washington. And
Mhm.
yeah, I didn't have a pick on him, but I always had like a good game against him.
That's good.
Yeah, so you not only did you play in the era of really good quarterbacks, there were some stacked receivers in the league. Like let's be honest. Which receiver did you most enjoy competing against during your time?
Keenan, Keenan Allen.
And your boy.
Yeah, I mean, just the history. We ended up being in the same conference when I got to Oakland. It was always fun. I mean, the first game that we had our rookie year, man, that was one for the ages. When I was in Washington, they came to us and played.
Mhm.
That was one for the ages. I remember everybody from back home talking about that game. Like I picked them off. I was guarding against them. I was guarding them and I picked them off on a dig. And like I was
Uh,
kind of like, I was flexing on them and doing this. Then like later on in that game, he hit me with a slant and goal, scored on me. He was, then
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a game saving tackle against Woodhead
Yep.
at the end of the
Yeah.
game and all.
Yep.
And so that was a fun, like very fun game, our rookie year. Then of course all the battles we had in Oakland.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that I love going against Keenan for sure.
yeah, him being your boy probably adds that little extra to it, right? Like,
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, I
I
mean, cause
love
we
that.
all the training and stuff we did together, guarding but I knew how to guard Keenan a lot, and
Mhm.
he was in a slot a lot too, so I didn't see him too much. But when
Uh-huh.
he was on that outside, it was like I knew how to play him, so it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun. It was
When you
fun.
guys are lined up across from each other, would you guys ever like talk trash to each other or say something funny to like get the guy distracted? Like
It,
whenever you guys
it,
lined up?
Dinner at
yeah,
your house
it was more like like, hey man, let's go, like what's up, like I
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
never really like it's nothing too verbal. It was more like, yeah, what's up, like
Right. Right.
like, yeah. Yeah, that was fun, man. But the toughest receiver I can say to this day, I don't care what anyone says, the toughest receiver in the league, for at least from my perspective, to guard, and at least it's definitely back in these days because no one really. This is when he first popped on the scene. Was
Mhm.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I,
Tyreek
I
Hill.
think he would still be a problem for a lot of teams if the Dolphins would utilize him a little bit more, just from my perspective. But yeah, he was a problem back
Yeah,
then
how
and
do
still
you
today.
game plan? Yeah, I want to know what is the game plan for that? Like what
Man,
would you plan to try to
like
contain him, not stop him, but contain him?
I remember, so 2016. I remember the first game that we played against the Chiefs. Like they had just started giving him reps. I think
Mhm.
was that, yeah, I think it was 2006. They had no, yeah, they had just started giving him reps. So the first game we played, like they would like slip a man, and like I remember him. I'm like, yo, who is this little dude? Like
Yeah.
this dude is moving, and
Yeah.
so. And then the second game we had, he actually beat me on a post on Thursday night, and like it was like, you know, that was the only, because anytime I see a play, like I usually always make the play, and like so I seen like the formation, I seen everything, happen. I seen the post. We was in cover four, which the post is the cover four beater,
Mhm.
and I knew it was coming. And like I got on my high horse, I got on my, start running, and I'm like, I see Alex Smith throw the ball, everything, and man, this dude just hit a different gear. Like I
Uh-huh.
said, he like for the first time, like I was pretty fast. Like, I clocked a 4.3 at the, like, I was a big fast guy. Like, that was one of my strengths, was like I could run.
Yeah.
And like, this was one of the guys that was just like pulling away from me, like, yo, what is going on? Like, and like, he he dove in the end zone, and I dove, and I tried to, like, I was like a fingertip from like tipping it away, and he fell in the end zone on. I was like, yeah, this dude right here is. That's the first time I actually felt that, and it
Yeah.
wasn't until I got to Kansas City and we used to go at each other in practice. Like, it was to a point to where we got on one-on-ones. Like, he wouldn't want to go with anybody else, but like, yo, come on, Emerson, come on, I need you, I need, like. And then I finally learned how to play him. I
Yeah. Yeah.
started kind of having some success against them, and like, you have to get hands on them. If you don't
Yeah.
get
Yes.
hands on, it's over with. Like,
Yeah.
and so, but
Yeah.
yeah,
That's awesome.
That is
yeah,
awesome. So
yeah.
what was your welcome to the NFL moment?
Welcome to the NFL moment. I would say the the Jordy Nelson play I mentioned to you, that was one. And I remember um I remember we played against the Cowboys. I think it might have been Monday night, and I was on kickoff, and I got my freaking block knocked off. Like, I was a safety. And they had a play where dudes circled around from the other side of the field and came behind me, and like, I got knocked out. I got knocked out for a concussion. I was out for
Damn.
like 10, 15 seconds. Like, I got my freaking block rocked, and like, that was probably my welcome to the NFL. Man.
Jeez.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. No shame on that. Blindside block. Be
Yeah.
rough,
Yeah,
man.
he crushed. Matter of fact, I was the example on the film for the hits you can't do for
Oh,
like
yeah.
the next
Ah.
season. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
one of those. Like,
You're like, I did my part, guys. All right.
Yeah. I did
I'm
this.
helping y'all out. Okay.
He's like, I
yeah,
did this for you guys. Just remember that.
exactly, man.
All right, David, we got one last question, man. First off, and I just want to say on behalf of the group, and I'm sure everyone will agree, man, you given us more than an hour of your time as we're still rolling. It has been a huge blessing to us. So much fun stories. We really appreciate your time. And
Nah, I
I
appreciate
hope we
that.
get the opportunity to have you back, man. You were such a fun conversation. I could talk to you all day about the Raiders and your time there because, of course, that's my team. But I want to
Yeah.
end one last question that we like to do to talk to former players about personal life. This one is more or less of, when people hear the name David Amerson, what do you want people to remember about you?
Man, and it's still being built, man. It, like, kind of like a renaissance, man. Like,
Okay.
a guy that, like, anything that, like, I do, like, I'm going to be good at.
Mhm.
I'm going to try to excel to the top at. I'm going to, relentless. I'm perseverant. Like, I'm very, like, I don't give up. Like, I always figure things out, and figure out my way to succeed at things,
Mhm.
and so, yeah, man, just, yeah, one of those guys that never gives up, that's always rewriting the story, always pivoting, always finding a way.
Yeah,
For
that's
sure.
incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
man.
love that. Again, even as a Chiefs fan, I think we can tell you have that relentlessness. We can even tell in your stories a little bit. You're like, man, if I go back, like,
Yeah,
ooh, I would have ended this guy. No, but
that fire is still there, man. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure.
yeah, and I love that. So I definitely, the perseverance, the stories you told, we can definitely see that fire, that go getter mentality. Like,
Yes,
even in
sir.
a little bit of over an hour with you, we definitely felt that. So
Nah, man,
absolutely incredible.
appreciate it, fellas. Nah.
All right.
Yeah, so like
Anything else?
Cody,
Anything else for
had
David?
said, we hope to have you back on. I know Chiefs Raiders Week's been a big kind of topic for the show here with previous guests. So you always have a seat here with us here in the War Room, man, and I'll I'll end it with that. So if you guys got something,
Yeah. Anytime you want to talk ball, man, like football, life, we got you. And
Yeah, man.
Chiefs Raiders week is a big deal, and it's pretty loaded with former Chiefs right now. So I think Cody wouldn't mind.
I could use a Raider compadre, man. Yes.
Which leads me to my thing. Thank you for your time. But does that mean you are officially a Westie bestie, particularly for Cody?
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, he's got his bestie.
We'll have to get you a Westie bestie shirt, my friend.
Nah, for sure, fellas, man. Nah, I appreciate you having me, man. And it was fun. Definitely fun talking ball, man. Just giving y'all stories. Just wanted to kind of give it to you raw and uncut, man, and just man. Just give you a little taste of my experience, man.
Loved it. Really appreciate your stories. Really appreciate you sharing your journey. It is a harrowing one because you did have to fall from, the mountaintop, so to speak, and work your way up. And, we're really fortunate to have you bless us with your time, dude. So thank you so much for today.
Heck yeah, man. I appreciate it, fellas.
All right. Be well, brother.
All right, you too.
Man. Guys, that was more than what I could expect. That was so fun.
Cody's blushing.
Cody is blushing, dude.
Dude, we could have talked all
those like 2015 and 16 days, and he's like,
I just remember like specific plays of when like overtime, when we have to draw play, we need the defense to make a stop. Common play was Amerson makes a stop, gets the ball back, and man, that was incredible. And he's got a great journey too. Who would have thought, like, second round, he had to learn a lot and he persevered. I mean, unfortunately, this is one of the things that NFL players go through, which he shared, is the behind the scenes that he can't control. And
I wasn't expecting that part.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, because I did, when I was doing my research, I saw that he was on the practice squad for the Chiefs, and I'm like, I wonder what happened there. And now it's kind of like, to see how that all unfolded. Like, hey, yeah, we really want you, but then now the deal is saying, well, now you're going to be off to the sides, and we might use you. So to see how that all unfolded.
Yeah.
And I can confidently sit here and continuously say each episode with a guest. I mean, we literally say it, and those of you that are watching, you hear us say it after a guest leaves the studio here that, well, this is our best episode we've done.
Yeah.
But I think also with that, the stories continuously get better too. And, hats off to Cody for making the rundown here for this one tonight. So again, guys, like, this is what we want our show to be about. We want them to come on, share the stories behind the scenes. Because like I told him after he had talked about the Chiefs, we just see the guys go out and play Sundays. They're strapping their helmets up. They're going out and playing. But there's a whole other side to it. And there's like 35 other questions in my head that I wanted to talk to him about. Training camp just wrapped up. Preseason's done. What is those like? So when we get him back on here, as he has already said he wanted to do, I do think it's gonna be a really good, solid episode with him again. So
yeah,
Westie bestie.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
And it, as a Chiefs fan, it was kind of, I don't want to say discouraging to hear that, but like at least it makes sense now, because I really, with the whole time, I mean, you heard them, like the corners were so bad they picked up like Orlando Scandrick in like week 11. Like there was need for a cornerback, and as a fan, this whole time I'm like, bro, we signed and paid David Amerson. Like, where is he at?
Right.
So even as a fan, I'm like, we don't see that behind the scenes stuff. So to me, I'm like, play the dudes, like play your player, like what is happening. So it's cool to get that insight, right? Like it sucks for him. I don't want to say it looks bad for the Chiefs, because let's be honest, that's the nature of the business for all teams.
Yeah.
This one is towards the Chiefs, so kind of stings, but that's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. But it was kind of a good insight to see that, and kind of to remember that, there's more to it than what we see on Sundays.
Yeah. And also too, like, it just goes to show he had an injury with the Raiders, and unfortunately he was caught in the crossfire of a regime that was turning over a lot of players, and unfortunately things out of his control. But again, to what you were saying, Austin, like, he's a productive player. Why aren't we utilizing him in circumstances beyond players' control? And I think that's a lot of their stories of, like, us as fans feel like, oh, well, maybe they're not doing the best with their opportunity, but really there's a whole behind the scenes things that they're doing their best. It's just for some reason, this coach, this person, this personnel, they don't see it the same way. And what they tell these players to get them to sign is completely different than what comes out on the field, not of any control of the player outside of like, hey, I'll compete in practice, but if you want me to be productive in this game, you got to put me in. And if you're not doing that, then like, I don't know,
Matt, what's your thoughts on it?
I mean, like Austin said, like it's business. At the end of the day, it's still a business. But yeah, like why? You made all that effort. Like, oh, we're on the phone with your agent. We know you're leaving in an hour. We're on the phone with your agent. Just let's talk to us a little bit more. To go through all that to not even utilize them, like, it's the nature of the beast. At the end of the day, it's a business. But I see his frustrations.
Yeah.
Because like you said, like I could have gone anywhere else and done this, but
it's discouraging as a fan to hear that, though,
yeah,
right?
It's discouraging because like he's still pretty young. Like he's Keenan Allen is his childhood friend who's still in the league.
Right.
And imagine like what it would have done for his career had Kansas City actually utilized him and put him in a position like he might have won a Super Bowl. He probably would have been part of a Super Bowl. There's always these what ifs now, but just imagining what could have happened if things were done the right way.
Well, you can look at that at every stop in his career, right? Like, what if he didn't get hurt in Washington? Everything changed and they give up on him. Same thing with Oakland. And then, Gruden comes in, blows everything up. And then Kansas City doing what they did to him, right? Like, I get why that dude said, like, perseverance and, like, never giving up. Because, like, for some reason, these teams did just give up on him. But he kept chugging along best that he could. Kudos to him. Very eye-opening story. Awesome dude. I still think he was an awesome player. I don't, you can say what you want, but the dude was a really good cornerback.
He was
honestly very good.
Cody, was it you had imagined it to be tonight?
More so, man. I was like, oh man, I was worried that like, what are we going to talk about? And then as he even just said, he's got love for Oakland. I was like, oh, I've got 100 questions I want to ask you right now about Oakland, the experience, the Coliseum. Like I still have like 1,000 questions. I'd love to just pick his brain. What was it like to play with this guy? And then he name drops Charles Woodson as his favorite teammate.
Shocker.
Yeah. I'm going to get you and Amerson Westy Bestie shirts with arrows pointing towards each other.
Honestly, I do want to say this real quick. Like, this is another reason why I enjoy doing the show with you guys, because the whole time Cody's cheesing out.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. Like,
that's how I was with Blaylock.
This
so
is
we're not judging.
exactly this is exactly what we envisioned when we do this show, is to see how happy it made Cody this week. So, I just want to say, man, like, I'm so happy that you got to experience this, and I'm so pumped that we were able to share this with you.
Well, shout out to Matt and Austin for booking the guests and getting Amerson, because he may not be synonymous with the NFL if, people are looking at it statistically, but for those that are like within the game, like I think, Austin can speak to this with like Warfield or, when we have a Broncos player on, sometimes it doesn't matter that they have all these accolades. It's like they were players that we identified with on the team that made an impact. And that's what means a lot to me, and being able to just hear his experience. Yeah, dude, like really made me feel like a kid getting to talk to a player that like I looked up to. And, I, again, really am blown away by what we get to do. And like every guest seems to be more amazing after the other. And it's just like, what are we doing, guys? We're just four schmucks that talk to great people every week. And what did we do to deserve this? But again, kudos to you three on the screen with me about how awesome you guys are, Austin and Matt, with booking guests. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I know Amerson.
Hey,
there's our number one Westy Bestie right there. What's up, bud? He's number one. What's up?
Yep.
Oh, he's answering the call.
He's answering the call.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that's a call squad right there. As long as it's not Raiders.
As long as it's not the Raiders. Yeah.
He'll look great in a Raiders shirt. What's your address?
Don't you put that email on me, Ricky Bobby.
What's your address, Matt? I'll have to DM Angel. She'll send that to me.
All right. My mom is watching this show, so buddy, wave hi to Nana.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
So I do want to say thank you again to everybody who watched tonight. I know the numbers looked really good as we were going through the episode. So again, without you guys in the comments, again, man, you guys are killing it over there. Meg, mom,
future daughter-in-law.
Oh.
Yeah. We're
But
about to have tea time.
again, guys, we finally get a little bit of a downtime tomorrow night. We have a huge episode Friday.
That's right.
We do.
Just when you think we get a day off, we fill it right up. So
Okay.
So
off we
again,
go.
for those
Bye-bye.
of you that are tuning in, we talked last night. Carl Pickens will be back with us Friday. He initiated this one. He wants to come and talk some receivers in today's game playing in his era. So I'm actually super curious to hear his take on the receivers playing back when he played and he had to go across the middle and actually get his head taken off. So
It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a good one.
it is going to be a good one. So that's all I have. Cody, you're the host tonight, so take us home, man.
yeah, we got to pay some bills because I haven't shouted them out enough. So JBW Solutions, appreciate you guys for being our number one partners. Veteran-owned, community-focused, safety-first compliance. So really appreciate them for being our best partners. And, Jeff and the crew over there have been phenomenal. We've been trying to share a lot of their socials because they are emphasis on safety and compliances with businesses, which, again, if you have one, you can only imagine how important that is. So we want to shout them out. And then Emporia State Federal Credit Union, which is our very first partner and sponsor with our podcast. We want to thank you guys for always being great partners, and I can't wait to continue the relationship that we built with you guys. And Field Ops Kansas with Troy and the crew over there for field markings, and for anyone that's trying to get games organized in terms of like getting your field or your courts all situated, you want to contact them in the greater Kansas area. They will set you guys up. And also our partners with Spy Optic. Use Orange 20 to get 20% off your shades. Get badass shades like what Matt has right there when we do our roll call to kick off the show. You guys, that's it. The Beard Club. Actually, Austin, you snagged this. You got to share what's the Beard Club.
I don't have one.
You can get one after the Navy. No, it's the Beard Club. It's kind of in the name. It's a club of people with beards.
Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, sorry, Matt.
Yeah, I know.
But they can do anything. They have products to help maintain your beard, grow your beard, or just make your beard look flawless. We posted the link on our IG, so if you go to our page, find that. Go through our referral link, and you'll get a bunch of awesome discount opportunities and deals, and it'll help support the show as well. So whether you or someone you know has an awesome beard and you want it to be more awesome, we're now ambassadors for the Beard Club.
Also, for any females that are listening, because, we were trying to get a female audience for females of podcasting, because we've had Meg on, we've had Deb on, we've also had Des on, so we want to promote women in sports. You guys can also get Beard Club gifts. Beard Club gifts for the guys in your life with beards. So don't forget, you guys can also.
Yeah, Meg.
Okay.
Or the bearded ladies.
That too. No shade to anyone's, whatever. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the War Room. Don't forget to subscribe, follow on social media. We'll catch you guys on Friday with Carl Pickens. See you.